Wow, look at all these games. Wow, you got a good collection, bro. Wait, what the hell is Capcom Fighting Evolution? What is this crap, bro? Why'd you buy this crap?
Johnny, you're the one that bought it. It's your favorite game, remember?
Oh, it must be a good game then. Let's check it out.
Hey, this is Mark Rodriguez.
This is Johnny Rodriguez.
And you're watching the Video Game Masters. Now today's episode we're talking about Capcom Fighting Evolution for your PlayStation 2 to see if it's as good or as bad as you remembered.
Let's just check it out.
Round 1, fight!
Capcom Fighting Evolution came out for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox in 2005, though the original name was Capcom Fighting Jam in Japan. The concept originally came from a game called Capcom Fighting All-Stars, a 3D fighting game that was never released. However, the same general idea of a Capcom crossover was still used in this game. The main draw in the game is that the characters from several Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, and Red Earth games fight it out in tag teams similar to rival schools. So you can't really tag your partner, you both take turns in between rounds, but you can choose who you want to fight as in each round. The game uses 4 characters from Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Darkstalkers, and Red Earth. The only all-new character is Ingrid, who was originally supposed to appear in Capcom Fighting All-Stars, but we'll talk more about her a little bit later. The characters have different playstyles depending on what game they're from. The Street Fighter 2 characters only have a 1 level on their super combo bar and they can't do air blocks or dash. The Street Fighter Alpha characters only have a 1 level custom combo bar that can be used for custom combos or super combos, and they can also do alpha counters. The Street Fighter 3 characters have a 2 level super arts bar. They can do their EX moves, super arts, and parry. The Darkstalkers characters have a 3 level special stock bar and they can do either their super moves or their ES moves. They can also do guard cancels and chain combos. The Red Earth characters have a 2 level bar called the Gem Bar. They can either use it to power up or to do their mystic breaks. They can also do ultimate guard and ultimate counters. Ingrid has a 3 level super arts bar. She's the only one with this unique setup since she doesn't come from any of the games. The final bosses are either Pyron from Darkstalkers and all his cheesy glory, or Akuma from Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo if you're good enough to find them. You can use both of these guys in the regular game as well. The endings for the characters are also drawn by Udon, the guys working on the Street Fighter comic book series. As for Ingrid, well, like previously mentioned, she was supposed to appear in Capcom Fighting All-Stars. The game had Mike Hagar call up several characters like Ryu, Poison, Dimitri, Strider, and Batsu to stop a guy named Death from unleashing a bomb called Laughter Sun upon Metro City, because Metro City just can't catch a break, you know. Ingrid, as well as DD and Rook, had the codes needed to deactivate the bombs. You gotta beat them first before you face Death. In All-Stars, Ingrid was also called the Eternal Goddess, and in this game, we see that she's a sun goddess. She also appears in Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max for the PSP. In this game, she's after Bison since he stole the Cycle Power from her and she wants it back. Despite being a goddess, Capcom and Udon seem to constantly place her in the Street Fighter universe. In the prequel comic to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, she also appears to be the one that created the Pandora and just dropped it on Earth for the hell of it. A god that throws an item of power into the human world for random shits and giggles. Where have I heard that one before? Well, anyways, Ingrid does have quite a fan base and a lot of people wish for her to someday appear in an actual legit Street Fighter game. Who knows? Maybe someday, Ingrid. Maybe someday. Alright guys, so now it's time for our thoughts on the game. And, well personally, well okay, this is your game. Why don't you go first?
Okay, I think that the game is not the greatest game, but I can't say it's bad, but it could have been better if they had more characters. That's the thing I noticed when we both were playing the game. the biggest shortcoming is that there's very little big characters, and then they don't balance out the characters because certain characters they could do air blocks, some people can do super combos, some people can do this and that. And I think that's kind of, I guess they kind of wanted to go that route because it makes it kind of unique in a way, but at the same time it kind of limits certain gameplay functions depending on which character you pick from whichever game they're from, which the vast majority are from a Street Fighter Alpha or Street Fighter,
Just Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 3. Like it's all like a Street Fighter fest for the most part. And the graphics could have been redone. It looks way too rehashed, like a cut and paste. Like especially some of the Darkstalkers characters look okay because they still animate pretty well, but then I think the Ray Earth characters look good too on their own. But I think that as usual, the Street Fighter characters just look very plain, very bland, and I think the more older sprites like the ones from the Alpha series, they could have been redrawn. Because you have an M. Bison from the Capcom Versus series, Capcom versus SNK, you know, he's animated well, and then you have Chun-Li, for example, from Street Fighter 3, you know how well those characters animate. And then you're left with some of the Alpha 2 characters, and those don't really animate as fluid compared to the other guys. Darkstalkers, they do animate very well, but the graphics look on its own very outdated, and they just look very spritey, I would like to say. The backgrounds could have been better. The backgrounds look like they look good, but they look kind of like they're just there. And they look more like there's just like a painting, like there's not much animation in the backgrounds, like it just looks really plain looking. So, other than that, the game could have been just way better. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not the greatest game. It is fun for versus matches, but the same thing, like what I said earlier, they have more characters, it would have been more fun.
Yes. And that's the thing also, I agree with Johnny, it's like it needed more characters, because after a while, I mean, it's only like 4 characters for each game, with extra Pyran and Akuma and Ingrid as the new character, like the only new character. But, yeah, it's very lazy. The characters are cut off from their games. They had Ryu and Ken cut out from the Capcom vs. SNK games. They also kind of redrew them, so it looks kind of different. But still, it's like a weird mishmash. I agree with most of the things he said. It's basically the same thing. Lazy backgrounds. Basically it was a budget title. They wanted to cut costs. It was just a quick thing. But the bad thing is that, it's just like you should have did more effort, but it's weird because it's a budget title, so I guess no effort. But they should have had more teams because it felt more like Street Fighter fighting Jam, because you have Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 3. I mean, it's all Street Fighter. You don't have that many Darkstalkers or whatever characters. You just have way too many Street Fighter characters. They should have did something else, like I guess a Final Fight team, but it's the same thing, because then those Final Fight characters are also in the Alpha game, so it still feels very Street Fighter-ish. They really should have had, like, you know, Strider, Mega Man, Captain Commando, any other, you know, Resident Evil characters, you know, make it more Capcom-ish and stuff like that. And only it's kind of bad that if the game was probably more successful and they made a sequel, maybe the sequel would have had more characters or something, but of course that didn't happen. And, yeah, what can I say? It's kind of fun a bit, and at that particular time, because, you know, there was no Street Fighter 5, it's like the only second game that Karen was actually in and stuff like that. You could enjoy that, you know, and so the Street Fighter 3 characters coming back. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, you get tired of it very quickly. That's the only thing. You get tired of it pretty quickly. It's just, I mean, it could have been so much more. I like the Japanese version. It was called Capcom Fighting Jam, because you're just, I guess, just jamming. It should not have been called Capcom Fighting Evolution, because it is not an evolution of any kind at all. That's the, I know it's like for the marketing, maybe
it's more like a retro.
That if it's called Evolution, it'll sell more than just called Jam, whatever. But yeah,
maybe you should have kept Jam. I don't really see the point changing it to Evolution, because there's nothing. Yeah, like he said.
So anyways, I don't know. Of course, in this day and age, you can't really rent games, especially the old ones. If you could somehow find it for like $1 or something, check it out. But other than that, I can't really strongly recommend it, because you'll probably get tired of it really quickly after you see all the endings and stuff like that.
You'll probably sell it in your garage sale anyway, so.
Yes. So anyways, guys, this is Mark Rodriguez here.
Johnny Rodriguez.
Wrapping up another episode of Video Game Masters as usual. Thank you for watching.
And see you next time.